Welcome to the Sailor Noob podcast, where a superfan and a noob talk about the original Sailor Moon episode by episode. I'm your host, Mikan Hana, joined by my co-host.
I'm the co-host and the noob. I'm Caliban. Gentlemen, let's broaden our minds.
We're a couple of magical people ready to moon cosmic power make up this episode. Today we are talking about episode number 107. Geijutsu wa ai no bakuhatsu, Chibiusa no hatsukoi in Japanese. Art is an explosion of love, Chibi-Usa's first love, the English translation, and the English title, Art Appreciation.
Art is an explosion of love.
Yes.
You ever seen Guernica? Yeah.
No.
Art Appreciation is that's a solid title.
That one's okay?
Well, it's as we'll get into, it's a class-based setting. It's art.
Yes.
You know, there's how many Art Nouveau, artsy-fartsy, how many Art Garfunkel, how many art phrases are there?
Yeah,
Art Appreciation is solid. That's
okay.
fine.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, you can always, make it French and make it sound fancier,
Art?
Yeah, I'm just trying to, I set myself up for that, and I'm like, l'art? I don't know.
Did you ever take Art Appreciation?
Fancy. No, but interestingly enough, I don't know, it was just like my French teacher, I guess. I took French in
humanities credits, electives or anything?
Well, we had art class and stuff like that, and we studied specific
You had art
pieces.
class in college?
No, in elementary school.
Yeah, I'm talking about the stuff you paid for.
Oh, no. But we did do an impressionist specific, what do you call it?
I don't know.
And in my French class, we studied the Impressionists, and
What?
everybody picked a different artist, and we had to do reports on them. And I did Gauguin.
Was it a French class or a France class?
It was a French class that
Because-
was kind of a France class.
Well, actually, to be honest, I took German and we had a lot of that too. And I think they think I'm doing these kids a favor. This is real cultural stuff. But
Yeah.
the fact that I know what a Kalteplatte is, how many weeks
Don't feel any different?
of vocab and conjugation did that rob for me? Just hit the language, right? Let's just do the language stuff.
I know probably
I can
more
tell
about
you where
Impressionists.
Bonn is on a map. Who
Right,
cares?
right.
I can't ask in German where Bonn is.
Right. I know that Monet went slowly blind, and that's why the water lilies
Yeah, gotta get glasses, yeah.
got blurrier and blurrier.
I got a great Zenny Optical commercial.
That's fantastic. I love
They got
that.
a time machine and they're just ruining art throughout
Oh,
history by
yes.
providing, except for Van Gogh. He's going to need a monocle he can't wear
Oh,
because he's
Van Gogh
missing an
probably
ear,
needs
so
some therapy.
can't keep the
Yeah.
glasses up in that way.
I know.
I was an art major for about 10 seconds in college.
Really?
Yes, until I met my art professor.
Oh no.
That's a story for another time. But I did take art appreciation, and I learned it. I would say that it filled in the rest of the gaps in my pedestrian knowledge of art.
Sure.
I would say a lot of it was I know all this, but some of it wasn't.
Okay.
Because I think that I somehow had a really robust grade school education as far as art is concerned. So good job, ISD. ABC. ISD XDX. Well, I don't want to pinpoint it too much.
I know. I knew what you were doing.
But man, some looking people, I would never tell anybody to not learn, but some people in that class, they were there because they had to be.
Okay.
They were there because they had to be.
All right.
I remember there was a very famous sculpture, I don't know how often, but it's somewhat famous, called Bird in Flight. And it does not look like a bird.
Oh.
But it suggests, it evokes the idea of speed or flight.
Okay.
And this guy, he's probably a football player, was like, yes, over here. It doesn't look like a bird. I was like, oh boy. Buckle up, people. Here we go. The ride is about to start.
That's rough. That's really rough.
He's the CEO of Legendary Pictures now. No, I don't know if that's true. You'd believe it, though, wouldn't you?
I would.
Believe this. We have a new review on iTunes.
Yay!
We appreciate when our listeners give us reviews.
Yes.
And we read them on the air, like I'm going to read this one by user WCM320, if that really is your name. It's a 5-star review titled, "One of the funnest listens, even if you're not a huge fan." And it continues,
Nice.
"Love the chemistry of this podcast, found it while looking for ideas for my own podcast, and found that someone had already done it, and most likely better than me, and really anyone else out there."
Well, thank
you very much.
We appreciate that.
Yeah, we love to hear praise like that, and we appreciate you listening. And must I say,
Yes.
Let's court our own competition here. Don't not do what you were going to do just because somebody else has done it. No, seriously. I mean, don't name it like Sailor Noob, but like, if you
don't
want to
do the
do
same
a
thing, but...
podcast, do your own thing. I got started in this business because I was like, boy, I really like Star Trek. Somebody should make a Star Trek podcast.
If anybody's done
There's
that.
a real gap here. Nobody's really, and then I started it, and before I really, thought to look, of course, there's a million Star Trek podcasts.
Yeah, well.
But over the course of time, I, tried to develop my podcast into something that was, that communicated my individual voice.
Yeah, I think you've done that too.
Possibly stealing from some of the other ones that I listen to, as any artist does, right? Great
Right.
artists steal. Bad artists borrow. Great artists steal.
Is that right?
They say that Steve Jobs said that. And then some people say that Picasso said that, but nobody can really source that. Like a lot of quotes about art, nobody can source it.
Okay, that sounds about right.
I feel like we just kind of put that on whoever we want to.
Yeah, right.
Milli Vanilli, for instance.
This week it'll be George Washington.
Milli Vanilli, that's pretty funny. But anyway, that's
Milli
okay.
Vanilli is funny, sorry.
Or maybe fun, the funnest.
Yes.
So thank you so much, WCM, 320. And is that like a 320 for... I can't figure it out.
I can't
If it's a
figure it
code, I
out
can't
either.
figure it out. But thanks so much for the review. And other listeners, if you want to leave us a review on iTunes or whatever your listening platform is, do
Yes.
that. Go to your thing, your listening platform of choice, give us a 5-star rating, and give us a review, and we'll read it on the air.
Yes. All right, well, let's get right to it. And Cal, can you give us a breakdown of today's episode?
I can, and...
Would you please?
I'm going to deconstruct it.
Okay.
in the artistic fashion, because this is serious arty. We open to the sound of cabinets opening and closing in the kitchen. It's not a bear. It's Usagi, looking for something to eat.
It's a bunny.
She's a teenager.
Yeah.
She's a teenager. This probably happens every day. I have to say that my parents never really had a plan for how much junk I'd come home and eat after school got out.
Oh, really?
There weren't exactly healthy options, but they always had something in the cupboard. But Usagi's invisible parents haven't planned ahead. There's no food. However, she does spy in the oven a pie baking, and she thinks perfect.
Uh-huh.
Perfect? A pie always has intent.
Uh-huh.
Abraham Lincoln. Unless you live at Paula Dean's house, a pie is always being made for a reason. That pie is spoken for.
Yeah.
But Usagi says, come here. And she takes the pie up to her friends, and she's like, eat up. And Luna is dubious. Luna says, where'd that pie come from? That Apuru pie.
Yeah. Apuru.
She and Artemis have sitcom sense.
Mm-hmm.
Like if they see a pair of handcuffs, they're like, where's the key for those? You booked a date with 2 different boys on the same day, didn't you?
Yeah.
Let me guess, you haven't practiced your talent show act at all. Usagi says, Mom must have made it for us, but we know that can't be true.
Yeah.
She doesn't have a mom.
She doesn't
Not
exist.
anymore, after the incident.
Oh, no.
She cuts it up, and everybody gets a piece of the pie. Everybody checks first that Usagi didn't actually make it. Oh, no. Okay, Mom made it. Great. It's safe. Ami says it would be bad if they got food poisoning before their exams. Everybody gets a slice, and Minako eats hers with her hands.
Yeah.
And I was trying to parse this. Eating a pie with your hands is like, that's something you do in a TV show when you're in a hurry or you're a slob. But here's what I came up with. There is a tradition of savory pies in Commonwealth countries. Like a meat pie?
Yeah.
Or something like that.
Sure.
So maybe it's the studied abroad in England in her that's like, I'm just going to eat this pie.
Oh my God.
And she says that this apple pie is so apple-y. Okay, Pee-wee.
Well, and then Makoto's like,
Your jokes have really gone down a level, is what Makoto says.
Yes.
Everybody's a critic. Chibi sticks her head in the room and says, "Hey, does anybody know what happened to the apple pie in the oven?" And you're eating it. And everybody is embarrassed, and Chibi says, "What are you going to do about this?" Ray says, "Don't worry. In the name of Mars, I'll chastise her." She flicks her in the face, knocking her down. And Chibi says, "I wanted Masanori to have it." And Usagi's like, "Who's Masanori?" But Chibi blushes and says, "Never mind. You owe me big time." And she runs out. Usagi says she's been going to art class to study sculpture. And the girls figure that maybe she found somebody special that pie was for. This doesn't stop them from finishing the pie, however, and letting Usagi take all the blame.
Such good friends.
At Juban Art School, Chibi runs up and skids to a stop as she sees a boy waiting by the entrance. This is Masanori. And he's a little Shinji Ikari looking dude.
Yes, he is.
He's also holding a bouquet of flowers. And speaking of flowers, we hear the Haruka Michiru theme, and up comes walking Michiru herself.
Yes.
Looking pretty good. Chibi watches from behind a pile of trash.
I know!
As Michiru approaches Masanori. And he gives her the flowers, and he tells her that they mean passionate love in the language of flowers. And Chibi's freaked out. Michiru is not, and she gives him a kiss on the cheek. And Chibi's like, "I'll kill her."
Yeah, I know.
And she knocks a can off the trash pile, and Michiru sees her and is like, "Oh, little trash girl, you were there. Let's begin class." And Chibi thinks, "I'm not going to lose to her." In class, the kids are working with clay. Masanori is making an angel-looking figure. He is Shinji Ikari, after all. And Chibi is making a kind of familiar-looking egg cup-looking thing.
Yep.
Outside the window, like a crazy person, Usagi is looking into the classroom. Chibi's having trouble with her project, and Masanori says, what is it? And Chibi says, "The Holy Grail. I saw a picture of it once in Mommy's room." Okay. Boy. When this show foreshadows, it goes all the way. This is fiveshadowing.
Yeah.
Masanori has no questions about this, and instead he says, okay, so you need some wings here, and we can use these buttons for jewels. Chibi is blown away by this, but Masanori demurs. Usagi is behind a different window now, and she figures that this kid must be Masanori. And Chibi thinks, he's the only friend for me.
I know.
Michiru comes into the room, and Luna says, "Oh, there must be a painting class next door." Thanks, Luna. Thanks for keeping us on track. And Michiru says to Masanori, "Now you mustn't help Chibi too much with her project." And Chibi is like, death stare.
I know.
Michiru says, "Good luck, my beloved rivals." She manages to avoid saying something like, "I hope I don't steal your heart."
Oh my god.
And she walks off.
I know.
Masanori is smitten with her, but Chibi is simply more resolved to win him. Outside, Usagi is still there, but she understands now. She's got to get these two together. Masanori is doing the detail work on his angel, and we see that it looks a lot like Michiru. Cut to the basement lab. Dr. Giggles is at his lab table, and he calls Eudial on the phone. But a voice says, "This is Chin Chin Tai. Your 4 orders of ramen are almost ready."
Yep.
And he says, "I'll be waiting." He hangs up the phone, and he kind of looks at it.
I know.
And at which is 5, the phone rings. Eudial picks it up. There's no one on the other end. But finally, Dr. Giggles speaks. Or he just laughs. And she says, "Is something wrong?" And he says, "Never mind. Have you found the target?" Is this a joke?
Weird.
He
Is there some, did they get,
did he,
disconnected?
call and then he's like, "Oh, no, it's Fiji again."
Yeah, right.
Did he just dial the wrong number?
It's unclear if he just dialed the wrong number or not to me. It seems like he dialed the wrong number, but then, also somehow dialed, which is 5.
Jokes have really gone down a level.
Yeah, right.
She says, "I'll send you the data." And both on her screen and on his printout on his clipboard, we see an image of a figurine. This is not the target.
No.
But it's a figure of a blonde woman in a flowy white dress. Eudial says, this is background on the target. This was created by a 10-year-old boy. It's a lot of restraint for a 10-year-old boy.
Yeah.
Surprised it's not like a bunny girl.
Okay.
Big boobies.
All right.
Right?
Yeah.
It's pretty sedate.
Yeah.
An anime figurine from Things from Another World or something.
Right.
Eudial says, he is Masanori Suzuki. And we see him on her screen, and she says, his keen artistic sense and pure-hearted devotion to art makes me think he has a talisman. Dr. G says, "This could be our first step in reaching our goal." And we see an image behind him of the purported Holy Grail.
Yes.
So that we've seen before, but we're making the connection here.
Yes.
We also see a set of tools in the evil microwave. They get cooked up, and a voice screams, "Chokoka!"
Mm-hmm.
And I catch. No car gag this week. No car gag.
No.
We return to Michiru painting while Haruka tells her, "I looked around and I didn't see any activity from Eudial or her group." And Michiru is painting a mermaid, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
And she says, "Great, we can have the day off." But Haruka notices her flowers and asks where they came from. And Michiru says, "Curious?" Well, I think we're all curious.
Uh-huh.
Haruka says, "Are they from a boyfriend?" And Michiru says, "Of course." And Haruka says, "So there's a guy with the gall to seek your love?" And Michiru says, "It's not like you to be jealous." They're going to find Shinji in an alleyway.
Oh,
Cause
no.
of death, world shaking.
No.
Haruka says, "I'm not jealous," as she sniffs the flowers, "but I won't forgive you for looking at anybody else but me." And Michiru says, "That's what jealousy is." It's fun. You have to keep it fresh.
They're
This is like Howard
teasing each
Hawks.
other.
They're just cracking it.
Yeah, I do feel like maybe Haruka takes it a little too far, but like they're kind of, it's the sense that they're both teasing each other, so I'm okay with it overall. So.
Yeah. At art class, still, I guess.
Yeah.
It's a 4-hour class. Usagi comes up to Chibi and says, "Cupid, the god of love, is here." And we see a disturbing pic of Usagi as a bare-assed cherub. Chibi says, "What are you talking about?" and stomps on her foot. But Masanori says, "Is this your older sister?" And Chibi says, "Yeah, something like that." Usagi grabs their hands and says, "Masanori, please be friends with Chibi-Usa." And Masanori's like, "Sure, I gotta go."
I know.
And he takes off. And Usagi says, "Chibi-Usa, I've created the opportunity. Now attack." But Chibi's like, "Get out of here." Just then, the star car drives through the window.
Yeah.
Like the Oscar Mayer mobile. Devastation everywhere. We're all trying to find the redhead in harem pants that did this.
Clearly.
Eudial gets out of the car and Masanori pops his head out of a pile of desks just long enough to get shot by her heart gun.
Yes.
He goes down to Chibi and Usagi's dismay in the other room, I guess, of this community center.
Yeah.
Michiru says, "Looks like it won't be a quiet afternoon after all."
Uh-huh.
What gave it away? The crashing sound of a car attending an art class? Haruka pushes the windows open, and the two planet power make up. Mm-hmm. In the other room, Eudial scoops up Masanori's heart crystal, but sailors Uranus and Neptune appear in the hole in the wall.
Yeah.
I guess they couldn't come through the door, because people would automatically know that they had been attending an art class in the building, and that means they're really Haruka and Michiru.
You got it.
Secret identities on this show.
I know.
Eudial says, "Not you guys. Demon, come forth!" And out of the car springs, something. This is a rough one.
Yeah, I know.
Chokoka!
Uh-huh.
She has a mallet and a chisel, and she looks like the Joker, and Two-Face got caught in a transporter accident with a racist Chinese villain.
Whoa.
Yeah. Fu Manblue period.
Oh my gosh.
Chibi-Usa wants to run right out, but Luna explains that they can't jeopardize their identities, which doesn't that defeat the purpose of being a do-gooder? I'm going to stand here and watch somebody die because there's no phone booth around.
It's not great.
People don't like Val Kilmer's Batman, but I got to say, there's the scene where he goes to the circus with Dr. Chase Meridian to see the Flying Graysons.
Yes.
And Two-Face's gang says, "The Batman has to reveal himself right now or I'll kill everybody here."
Uh-huh.
And he immediately, Bruce Wayne, Val Kilmer, immediately stands up and is ready to reveal himself. He's going to save all these people because that's what Batman does.
Yes.
He says, "I'm Batman." But unfortunately, everybody else is screaming because there's a bomb in the big top.
Right.
And so nobody hears it. But he gets points. It counts.
It does
that he was
count.
ready to give up his secret identity to save lives.
Yes.
Because he's a superhero.
But then,
He wouldn't just go, that's a real shame.
I know.
But sir, you were there. I couldn't. I was getting peanuts.
I don't want to talk about it.
I was in the bathroom. And if you really want to teach Chibi the importance of a secret identity, give her a superhero name that isn't half of her actual name.
Yeah, I know, right? Chibi Moon. I wonder who this could be.
Get her a t-shirt with that on it.
Yeah.
Anyway,
right.
Chibi says, "Screw that!" And she runs out and bites the fire out of Eudial's arm.
No.
Making her drop the heart. Love Chibi.
Yeah.
Eudial is like, "What the hell?"
I know.
And Chibi says, I won't let anybody take my precious Masanori's heart. Eudial says, okay, bad girl, give me the heart. But before Chibi can bite her face off, Uranus whisks the heart out of her hands. You're safe. You're safe for now, Eudial.
Yeah.
Uranus says, yeah, it's not a talisman. And she hands it right back to Chibi, who gives it to Masanori.
Yeah.
That was fast. That's some kind of record. Eudial gets back in the car and says, handle them, Chikoka. And she Homer Simpsons back into the hedges.
I know.
Chikoka opens up her smock to reveal many, many chisels.
Yes.
Which she throws like knives at the outer senshi.
Yep.
The senshi need a little more room to maneuver, they decide, so they flip over the demon and run outside. Usagi, the star of this show, watches them go and says, wow, what a mess. And Luna's like, transform already.
I know.
She's like, oh, right. Chibi says, hang out here, Masanori. And as she runs off, he says, I found my goddess. The girls transform, while in the woods, Uranus and Neptune are working Chikoka over. And Chikoka lands in a sandbox and says, high concept youma powers activate.
I know.
She starts sculpting a figure and says, art number 1, Beyond the Massacre. And the figure turns into a spiky stone lady.
Yes.
And she says, go! Art is an assault! And BTM charges at Uranus and pushes her back into the forest.
Yep.
Chikoka makes a second sculpture and says, art number 2, Silent Ambition. Which becomes a giant Michelin Man looking robot thing.
Yeah.
Michiru is like, how about creating pieces that are a little easier to understand? Sure. Everybody's a critic, Miss Bouncing Lemon Performance Artist.
Yeah, I know, right?
Chikoka says, art is avant-garde. And the Michelin Man chases Michiru through the playground.
Yes.
As Chikoku laughs. Michelin after Michiru. But higher than her, on top of a playset, stands Sailor Moon and Sailor Chibi.
I guess they've been taking points from Tuxedo
Climb up the
Mask.
ladder.
Yeah.
Moon says, your evil hands have tainted the holy spirit of art. And Chibi adds, and you put my precious Masanori in danger. In the name of the moon, I'll punish you. And in the name of the future moon, I'll punish you. They leap off the playset with a double Sailor Moon kick. But Chikoka throws a coat hanger at them.
That's what it looks like to me,
causes
too.
a vortex that sucks them in.
I was really confused by this.
Abstract.
Yeah, very
This
abstract.
is very abstract.
Yeah,
Elsewhere, Michiru leaps into her natural habitat, a tree,
of course.
to escape silent ambition, and the monster careens into a lake, dissolving. Uranus rolls over, wrestling with Beyond the Massacre, and she kicks her opponent into the lake too. The Lomi menace is no more.
Yes.
They turn on Chikoka, and Neptune says, your weakness is also water, right? Deep submerge!
Yeah, it's great.
Uranus says, now, Sailor Moon! And Chibi leaps up. Big sugar heart attack!
I know.
But nothing happens. But then it does! And Chikoka's like, ow, 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 ow! Then we get, whoo!
Yes.
We get an MSHA, and the art menace is no more. Art is dead. The outers say later, and they leap over the swing set. Just like they just leap out of frame. That we get it. That could have been it.
Yeah.
But then we cut to them going, just over a piece of playground equipment. So powerful. Chibi says, they're more reliable than Sailor Moon, I guess. And Sailor Moon's like, all right, look who's talking.
Yeah.
Come on.
Right.
We were both taken out by a coat hanger. Later by the canal, Masanori and Chibi walk hand in hand. She says that he can call her Chibi-Usa. He's been calling her Tsukino this entire time.
Yep.
Not her last name.
It's weird because people call her Chibiusa Tsukino, even though...
it's a student thing, but it is a name that she has, like, adopted, I guess.
I guess, yeah.
He says that he'll see her later. Before he goes, he gives her a figurine that he has finished. A figure of her.
Yeah.
But that's not a bunny with big boobs.
No, it's sweet.
Showing that restraint. The girls all arrive to say, Kakui.
Yeah.
And Usagi pushes it by saying, just for once, you should be thankful to me because I got you guys together. And Chibi's like, yeah, right. You still owe me for the pie. And all the girls are like, yeah, right. And they throw her under the bus.
I know.
You're like, yep, it's her fault.
I know.
Chibi says, ready for your punishment? But Usagi says, please forgive me, Sheriff.
I don't know why.
She's Bob Marley all of a sudden.
I guess.
And she climbs a light pole.
Yeah.
The end.
She's afraid of her future daughter.
I ate the apple pie, but I did not eat the apple turnover.
Nice. Like what you did there. Oh, my goodness.
You get a feeling we're getting lost?
This is a little, yes.
There's an old school feel.
I was getting lost for a minute there.
There's an old school feel to this episode where, even back to Sailor Moon R, where we got Chibi, and we've got an activity. It's art in this case.
Right.
And, something happens with a person involved in it, and then we do the whole song and dance.
Yep.
But since all through what I like to call the Karenite days,
yes,
we were looking for something and we didn't find it, and now we're in the Witches 5 time and we still haven't found it.
Yep.
And we're getting a little closer. We know that we've known it's the Holy Grail, I guess, just by inference this entire time. Are we going to get anywhere?
Well, we're looking
soon.
We're looking for the talisman, which will get us.
I get it, but everybody's end goal is to get the Holy Grail.
Yes.
And to make the Messiah appear.
Uh-huh.
And I've kept my, mouth shut. I haven't really said anything because I was just assuming that we were going somewhere. But I know we're going to get somewhere eventually. But can we get there soon? This is the part where, and maybe this is what always happens. This is the part where I complain that it's not moving fast enough, and then next week we get somewhere. So I guess for a couple weeks I've been saying, should I invoke my power of summoning things to happen? And I'm fine. The dam is broken. I am now invoking my power. Let's have something happen here.
Yeah, this definitely, feels like a quote unquote filler episode, and I, we've talked about filler episodes before. I don't necessarily.
They're not at the beach.
No, I don't necessarily feel like they're awful.
We did have a beach episode.
Yeah, I don't necessarily.
Oh my God, is this a sub beach episode? Once you've done beach and pool, let's just do an art episode.
Sandbox.
I feel like maybe they have touched this before. We have talked about art before in connection with the plots through Kiro Miru. And so maybe them going to the art well didn't pay off because they don't have anything to say about art. I feel like in the past we've made a statement about...
I felt that way too.
We've made a statement about the fact that, the virtue of the person working really hard, making these dolls or whatever, has been part of the motivation of why they are infected by a spirit or why they are targeted. And sure, Eudial can say, oh, he's got a pure heart and he works really hard in his art, so whatever.
Right.
But, everything is perfunctory. That, she just says that. She doesn't even drive the car. We get to the thing. He's working. I guess Chibi's got a crush. She had a crush a couple weeks ago. She's barking up the wrong tree, but she had a crush.
Yeah.
We've got that. Then Eudial shows up, shoots the heart out. It's not a thing. Gets in the car, leaves. Then we've got a monster who, and I say, let's not rate BTM or Silent Ambition.
Yeah.
Although I could push for it. But basically a monster that creates two monsters. So we got three monsters that are immediately, they have a Scooby Doo weakness, which is water.
Right.
And then Usagi climbs a pole at the end, like she's first season Usagi. And this is what you wanted to, it'll be in the rating.
Yeah. I am waffling through putting this together and talking to you now. I have been waffling between which number to go with.
No, we're not rating.
I know we're not rating yet.
So waffle later.
Yeah, I know.
Right now, let's talk about other stuff that we should probably save for the second half of the show, but this thing's got to be at least an hour. So I made a Batman joke at the beginning of this.
Yes.
But don't you feel Batman in this?
What do you mean?
I mean, the villain is... So remember 1989's Batman?
Yeah.
A movie that might have been released before some of our fans are born. That's okay. Where the Joker in that film, played by Jack Nicholson, considers himself an artist.
Oh, right.
He's the world's first fully functioning homicidal artist.
Yes.
Simply, I make art until someone dies.
Uh-huh.
And he dresses like an asshole. And there's a whole scene where they, let's improve the paintings. And they trash their way through an art gallery. Mm-hmm. Prince did a whole album about him, basically.
Yes.
He did an album to go with the Batman movie, but definitely liked the character of the Joker more than Batman.
Right, yes.
In the video for Bat Dance, and for Party Man, by the way, he is half Prince and half Batman.
That's true.
And half the Joker. Mm-hmm. His character is half and half. The character even has bat fins on their arms and legs.
Oh,
and part of their body is a purple type symbol that's got a circle in the middle, like the Prince symbol.
You are talking me into it.
Which by 1995 or 6, he would have been the symbol, right? I can't remember exactly when that happened.
So
when he was the artist.
Yeah, right. The artist formerly known as Prince. I think so. Because when you first said Batman, I thought maybe you were talking. I was going very literal, and I thought, yeah, right. Well, I thought you meant Batman. I know. I thought you meant like Two-Face. Just with the idea was split right down the middle.
That is a part of Batman, obviously,
right?
And so I don't know if Prince knew that when he decided to be both Batman and the Joker in his video for Bat Dance.
Right.
But that is there. And so if comic fans who I think we've established, or at least I have this, I think, fully proven theory at this point. You can never fully prove a hypothesis. You can only disprove it, right?
Yeah.
But like this thing is rock solid at this point. The people behind this understand superheroes and they understand that culture of American superheroes. And so, yeah, I mean, maybe they also went, and also it's kind of Two-Face, but it's really like Bat Dance.
I mean, that would make sense to me. And in the last episode we talked about in the Cloverway dub, Amara says, "Riddle me this, Batman." So there you go. Just proof of
15
concept.
years later, across an entire ocean, somebody goes, "Let's have her say, 'Riddle me this.'" I don't think that's data that helps.
Oh, okay. All right.
Right?
All right.
Because
sure.
that dub was done years later. Continent away.
A continent away, but I don't know about it was like maybe 5 years later.
Okay, 5 years later.
Yeah. But yeah. All right. So there are a couple things that I read that, and I think this is people just hypothesizing that they thought that Daimon was like Picasso like, but like
because it's got a weird eye.
I don't know. I was trying to figure it out because like Picasso has like eyes in like weird places. Like her eye was where it was supposed to be.
If both of her eyes were on the same side of her head,
sure,
maybe you'd have something there.
Right. That's kind of how I felt.
If you spent more than the average budget of a mid to low level kids show, and animated her in 2 dimensions or something like that, yeah, you might have something. But
right.
Clearly, it's just like, yeah, this is like a weird eye, like it's art on one side of her body. But why is she split at all? What's the point of the split?
I was trying to figure that out too, and then I kind of came up. I don't know if this makes any sense, but like like one side of her is like almost like a natural skin tone color, and then the other side is like bright colors. So like you could say like maybe she's like painted clay, and then like which side is like the quote unquote monster and which side is not.
But is she a Jekyll and Hyde character?
Yeah,
no.
Good question.
It's
I don't know.
all visual.
Yeah, it is all visual. You're right.
So like, why give her?
You're right.
A big purple symbol on her body? Why make her half and half of something? Why give her a bunch of spikes on her? If only I could figure out the secret of the Iron Maiden Spike Lady and the weird Michelin Man robot that she makes. I'm not saying everything is calculated within an inch of its life.
Right.
But
yeah.
It feels like the hearts were going to be really important. In the same way that the conceit of the people who are kind of possessed by some spirit in R that is connected to their ambition, or their frustration or something like it seemed like the hearts were going to be like a really important thing.
Yeah.
But we're 20, 25 hearts in now, and like just even the show seems bored with it.
I think they didn't know how to make it interesting for
also,
as long as they did.
Silent ambition is silent, but it's not like Beyond the Massacre makes any sound, so who cares?
That's a good point. Beyond the Massacre should have been really noisy.
Jay and Silent Bob.
Right.
Although Bob does talk, I think, in every appearance he makes. So how silent is he? But yeah, I don't know. I mean, I get it. I get what they're doing. I don't know if it's art, but I know what I don't like.
Yeah.
So anyway, as far as I'm concerned, the spirit of Jack Nicholson's Joker is here. And maybe that is really why I'm disappointed, because this villain falls so far below that. Like, if you're going to have a villain who is an artist, have him be a snob. Sure. I feel like that was kind of there, but it's only a sketch. the spirit of Jack Nicholson should be here, and I'm going to insert it wherever I can.
Yes.
But looking at this episode,
I'm
kind of like flipping through Vicky Vale's book, like crap.
Oh my God, no. Okay. Are you gonna like spray paint like what did he do? He like he added things to like art that was in the museum. Yes. It was like terrifying watching them do this, and like Vicky Vale is just like, what is happening around me?
Right.
Yeah.
And then he spared the Francis Bacon painting, the horrible, bloody, disturbing painting.
Because it was
leave this one alone. I kind of like it.
I know.
Yeah. Masanori is 10 years old.
Yes.
How old is Chibi?
I think she's supposed to be around 10.
I can't believe that.
Why?
I've been calling her like a 6-year-old this whole time.
Well, that's true. I don't know.
We'll never see him again. That's what I love about this.
I know. It's kind of
sad. What's the point?
I know. So she comes back to the past to make friends. And so she made a genuine connection.
They keep writing this line of, become friends. Do it, Chibi. Become friends with him. Mm-hmm. He's the friend that I'd pick.
Uh-huh.
Are they just, it's almost like they're recycling like a boyfriend plot, but it's just, now swap out boyfriend for the word friend because they're children.
Right. It does. Yeah, that is exactly how it feels. But I do kind of want him to come back because I just thought that their interactions were kind of sweet.
Meh.
But
he's no Yumemi Yumeno, I'll tell you that much.
No, he's not.
Speaking of art episodes.
Also in the manga, my favorite phrase you like to hear me say.
It's not cool when you point it out.
Okay. So Chibi was making a holy grail out of clay for an art class, but she got Mamoru and Usagi to help her with it. And it ended up being like this really sweet moment.
All right, go ahead and ruin some. I'm going to ask another question that I don't really want the answer, but I kind of need the answer.
Okay.
At that point in the manga, did they have any idea or inkling of what the Holy Grail was?
No.
So what the hell?
They didn't know. And in the manga, she said, I saw a picture of it in my mom's room.
Cal's Theory Corner.
Yeah.
All right, so like, in the future, this is the problem with having like, it's like Bill and Ted. Although Bill and Ted is a parody of time travel stories.
Yeah.
So Rufus can go, you guys got to get this done. And we know you do, because I'm here. It obviously all works out.
Right.
And they go, later I'll steal the keys and I'll leave them right here with the trash can. Oh, there they are, right?
Yeah.
But this is a drama.
You're right.
And a comedy.
Yeah.
So like the fact that like, we got a picture of that. That's in our case, our trophy case somewhere. It makes me know that it's all going to work out in the future.
I guess. I see what you're saying.
Chibi's ruining things just by being around. Everybody's right about Chibi.
She ruins everything.
How would you describe Just Enough Trope? We are the Just Enough Trope podcast. I'm your host, Caliban, joined as always by my co-host.
Hi, I'm Mikan Hana.
Oh no, does this mean they can hear all the things I yell at the TV during Downton Abbey?
Why did you do that?
How do you plead?
Let the game begin.
Yeah, check these fresh moves.
Oh!
Don't shoot man in face.
This isn't the Save Gotham fundraiser.
It's the Chill Family Reunion.
Master Yoda assigned a Padawan to this bold Jedi.
I think it's pronounced Padawan.
Oh, Padawan, excuse me.
Hey, it's getting late. I think Ralph's going to want his motorcycle back.
Go jerk off the pictures of Jean Grey.
I am freaking getting old.
Yeah, I noticed the life clock was blinking in your hand.
Get out of here, Wilson. Go fight the Teen Titans or something.
I'm unkillable, not unwoundable.
You like Sailor Moon, right? Why don't you sail on his
Wow.
Just Enough Trope. News, reviews, and geek fondue. Every Monday on the Just Enough Trope podcast network.
Loving me never have a say. You so sorry.
What?
Today for Kuro Kuro Miru, or Curiously Looking Around, we talk about elements of Japanese culture within the episode. We're going to be talking about Yoko Ono. Well, that is part of what she's known for.
All right, that was pretty good.
Yeah, that was pretty good. That was a good Yoko scream you got going on
Feels
there.
good.
Yeah. But we're gonna talk a little bit about her background and her art.
Okay, but not in a dry way, I hope. That's not what Yoko would want.
No, that is not what Yoko would want.
This is Yoko Ono we're talking about.
I know.
I'm afraid that people might, they're going to know at the end of this, but going into this, I'm afraid that just culturally, by osmosis, people might not know who Yoko Ono is.
Well, I think that in the West...
She is the person that broke up the feud. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, right.
I'm just kidding. That is a myth. It's a sexist myth.
It is a sexist myth.
But
I agree.
Yeah, like, that is, she... We're going to talk about it, has had a life as an artist and as a activist away from all that. And music. Yeah. But, if your husband was John Lennon for a while, you're going to be remembered for that.
Yeah.
So, yeah, she was, well, I'm not going to call her the fifth Beatle. There's a lot of people that are lined up for that. But,
yes.
She's part of that whole group.
Yes, she is. And she's still alive and well today.
Oh, yeah.
Ono was born on February 18th, 1933 in Tokyo City to Isoko Ono and Eisuke Ono, a wealthy banker and former classical pianist. And Isoko, who was her mother, her maternal grandfather was Zenjiro Yasuda, or this is Yoko's great-grandfather. And he was an affiliate of the Yasuda clan, which was a Japanese samurai king group in the Sengoku period and Edo period.
Yeah, right.
And Yasuda Zaibutsu, a financial conglomerate owned and managed by the Yasuda clan. And the Zaibutsu was founded by Yoko's great-grandfather. And
don't make me not like her, okay?
Well,
I don't care that her parents were rich and her dad was a captain of industry. I care more about the fact that she is a cusp between Pisces and Aquarius.
Okay,
which
all
is
right.
perfect for an artist.
Okay, all right. I'm just saying she came from money, but her great-grandfather is described as a self-made millionaire, even though... okay, all right. Anyways, and her father came from a long line of samurai warrior scholars.
So she had a lot to make up for.
Yeah.
A lot to atone for.
Yeah, right.
Don't you think, look, this is the show to have this discussion. Obviously, art is supported by money.
Yes.
There are physical realities, financial realities.
Uh-huh.
But don't you think that somebody who is born both an Aquarius and a Pisces with a silver chopstick in her mouth looks at her family's history and goes, well, I gotta make something out of my life that has nothing to do with this stuff, especially because I am in my 20s and it is the 1960s and, I gotta get out there. I gotta do something.
Yeah, I definitely think that is part of it.
There's probably a lot of arguments between a teenage Yoko, and her dad. You just love your money, man.
Right. Well, and she was enrolled in piano lessons starting from the age of 4 until about 12 or 13. And I think I read something somewhere that her dad put a lot of energy into her studying music because, he didn't feel like he could continue being a classical pianist. So, he was going to channel all of that into her.
Oh, boy. That always goes great.
Yeah, I know, right?
Why is she in that bag on stage?
Stop it. She attended kabuki performances with her mother, who was trained in shamisen, koto, otsuzumi, which is one of the hourglass-shaped taiko, and kotsuzumi, which is the smaller version taiko. Yeah. Her mother could also read Japanese musical scores, like classical Japanese musical scores. There was a lot of moving at a young age. She initially grew up in Tokyo, but her family moved to the U.S. due to her dad's job, and there was a lot of back and forth. The family moved to New York City in 1940, but the following year, her father was transferred from New York to Hanoi, and the family returned to Japan. Ono was enrolled in the Keimai Gakuen, an exclusive Christian primary school, and she remained in Tokyo throughout World War II and the firebombing of March 9th, 1945, during which she was sheltered with other family members in a bunker in Tokyo's Azabu district, which has 9 wards, one of which is Azabu Juban. So it's possible she was sheltering in Azerbaijan. And so this was away from heavy bombing.
Yeah. I'm already kind of working on my mashup fic.
Okay.
Where a young Naoko Takeuchi, who is was not alive in World War II.
No, not at all.
Runs into a Beatles era Yoko. Well, it'd have to be post for Naoko to be sentient, I suppose. As a young girl.
Yes, sure.
The age of Kimi-chan.
Yeah,
and
right.
She sees this, classy lady get out of a bag. She sees this classy lady, walking around the old haunts.
Yes.
And remembering, sheltering in place in Azerbaijan.
Yeah. Oh.
All right, anyway.
Gives me chills.
I'll get back to work on that.
Okay, all right. Sounds good. They dealt with, as a family, a lot of starvation, and the Ono family was forced to beg for food while pulling their belongings in a wheelbarrow.
Wait, where's all their money?
They went to the countryside. Well, it's during war, so they have to barter and stuff like that. And money doesn't necessarily mean as much when you have to literally barter with things. Ono said it was during this time in her life that she developed her quote-unquote aggressive attitude and understanding of quote-unquote outsider status, because she felt very much outside.
Sure.
And also during this time, really horribly, her father was in Hanoi, and he was believed to be a prisoner of war in China during this time. So he was not with the rest of the family. After the war ended in 1945, Ono remained in Japan with her when her family moved to the United States and settled in Scarsdale, New York. By April 1946, Gakushuin, one of the most exclusive schools in Japan where Yoko had previously gone to school, reopened and Ono re-enrolled.
Right.
And the school is located near the Tokyo Imperial Palace and had not been damaged in the war. And one of Yoko's classmates was Prince Akihito, the future emperor of Japan.
Okay, see what I mean?
Yeah.
Okay, look, I love Yoko Ono.
Yeah.
I'm going to give her all this.
Yeah.
And we're going to call it, experience. This is grist for the artist mill.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Grew up with a combination samurai / Zaibatsu king of industry family.
Yeah, right.
But sheltered in place
Yes.
and had to suffer the depredations of World War II.
Yes.
And then right back up to the top, Westchester County, baby. And then more, let's let the resentment begin to build again.
Okay, that's fair.
No, not my resentment.
No, right. I understand.
Artistically.
Yes. So Ono joined her family in New York in September 1952 and enrolled at Sarah Lawrence College. Ono's parents approved of her school choice, but disapproved of her lifestyle and chastised her for befriending people whom they felt were beneath her. Screw you, Mom and Dad. In 1957, Ono left college and moved to New York City, supporting herself through secretarial work and lessons in the traditional Japanese arts at the Japan Society. Ono has often been associated with the Fluxus Group, a loose association of Dada-inspired avant-garde artists, which was founded in the early 1960s by Lithuanian-American artist George Mačiūnas. I think I'm saying that right. Mačiūnas admired and enthusiastically promoted her work and gave her her first solo exhibition at AG Gallery in New York in 1961. He formally invited Ono to join Fluxus, but she declined because she wanted to remain independent.
Sure.
Ono created a lot of conceptual artwork. One of the earliest examples is entitled, quote, "Painting to be Stepped On." So a blank canvas was laid on the floor, and people who came to the exhibit dipped their feet in paint and walked on the canvas. That's it. The artwork was considered finished once there was a decent amount of footprints on it. And with this work, Ono suggested that a work of art no longer needed to be mounted on a wall and inaccessible. So she's making the art audience part of the art,
yeah,
and you are part of the experience.
Yeah. That's always part of her aesthetic.
Yeah, it's a big part of all of her pieces. An innovative performance work for Ono is cut piece, which was first performed in 1964 at the Yamaichi Concert Hall in Kyoto, Japan. The piece consisted of Ono dressed in her best suit, kneeling or sitting on stage with a pair of scissors in front of her. She invited and or instructed audience members to come on stage and to cut pieces of her clothing off.
Right.
Some audience members approached cautiously and cut just a small piece of fabric, like at the hem of her skirt or like on her sleeve somewhere, whereas others cut like large swaths of fabric or, you know, cut a piece of her blouse or even her bra strap. And Ono sat silently and expressionless until the piece concluded at her discretion, and audience members were allowed to keep pieces of the clothing that they cut, and this work confronted issues of gender, class, and cultural identity. And there were a lot of critics of this piece, and some people thought that it like expressed violence towards women and stuff like that. And like, I mean, you can interpret art in different ways, you know, but I don't think that that's what she was going for. And
yeah,
I've read things that her talking about, like she,
and also even if she was, isn't that a commentary on violence against women?
It is.
It's such a double standard. This is actually the second time I've used this example on a podcast today, but it's a Wanda Maximoff situation where
it is.
When Doctor Strange does it, he's a hero. When she does it, she's a villain. And when, you know, David Blaine has himself frozen in a block of ice, you know, he's a hero. But when she does this, or when Marina Abramovic wants to, you know, sit in the MoMA or whatever and let strangers come and look at her and talk to her, stuff like that, the artist is present. It's like, right. What is she doing? It's crazy. She shouldn't do this.
Right. I know. And like, she's talked about the piece and said that a big part of it was like her wanting to have the best part of her like available to the audience. So she wore like one of her best suits, you know, and had people cut it off. And she said that one of her inspirations for the piece actually was Buddhism, which I thought was really interesting. Just, you know, wanting to be an artist and to give your best to the audience, and hopefully they will take that from you and like maybe pass it on somehow too, you know? Ono and John Lennon first met on November 7th, 1966 at the Indica Gallery in London when she was preparing Unfinished Paintings, her conceptual art exhibit about interactive paintings and sculpture.
I know this story.
Yeah, everybody, a lot of people know this story.
Yeah.
Were you going to tell it?
Oh, sure. It's 1966. I think Revolver has just come out. I know the Beatles have stopped touring. And one of the reasons they stopped touring is because they were just sick of it. Like, it was exhausting. Yeah. And they were tired of playing their songs. You know, they did like Shea Stadium, right? They're playing it to thousands of screaming people. They can't hear themselves, and people can't hear the music. And they're mad at each other, and they're tired. And so he was just like bummed out. And he went home. He wasn't home, but he was in London. And he was just feeling terrible about himself, and he just feeling negative. And he went to her show. He'd heard about it. And there's a piece that she had. All of her art, like her aesthetic, was about participation.
Yes.
You know? And so there was an art piece that was like a ladder that goes up, and you climb the ladder. And at the top, there's like a lens or like a magnifying glass that you look through. And when you look through it, it says yes. And he remembered just being so hit by that, just this like element of positivity, you know, like this reward for this effort. And he was like, wow, I just want to meet this artist. I like this. Yeah.
That's exactly it. And that piece is called Ceiling Painting / Yes Painting.
Okay, so she can't title stuff. That's okay. It's tough to title stuff. I know.
That's okay. But yeah, I mean, it's all about being interactive and this idea of like climbing a ladder and like, what are you going to find up there? And then it's, it was this positive messaging. And I think a lot of her work actually tends to be fairly positive.
Mm-hmm.
So I wanted to try to, I was hard to find anything, but I wanted to get an idea of, because I had an idea, but of like what Japanese people think of Yoko Ono. And I think a lot of us in the West think of her as the person who broke up the Beatles, or that's our conception of her without looking further.
Yeah.
But that's not how she's generally viewed in Japan. And I guess there was somebody sent out a tweet like when Meghan Markle and like Harry like were leaving the royal family, and they were saying somebody said that Meghan Yoko Ono the royal family, and like Japanese people saw this and they're like, wait, Yoko Onoing is a verb? And it means
really?
To break up a group.
Wait a minute, Japan, where have you been all this time?
They were like really floored and surprised and like kind of appalled by that.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Yeah, it's only been like 40 something years.
I know.
Yeah, the people say that.
I know. And then like I feel like there's so many songs where people will mention Yoko Ono, but it's about like you won't be my Yoko Ono, like, or
Barenaked ladies. That's two.
Yeah, right. Get a third one.
I'll try.
But my Japanese textbook that I had for my language course when I was in Japan in college was called Genki 2. And Genki is like you ask about how is somebody. They say Genki desu ka, like Genki desu. Huh. Anyways, it's a really popular textbook, but I no longer have the book, but I'll never forget that one of the stories included, which was completely in Japanese and used for comprehension and vocabulary exercises, was all about how Yoko Ono and John Lennon met at her art exhibition and then about their life together. But it was, largely told from Yoko's point of view. And that's when I first learned that, generally speaking, Japan loves Yoko and generally doesn't think of her as the person who broke up the Beatles. And it was refreshing.
Yeah.
And I just want to close with something that I found from John Lennon. He once described his wife as, quote, the world's most famous unknown artist. Everybody knows her name, but nobody knows what she does.
Well, okay.
I mean, I think we know what she does now, but
yeah.
like,
I suppose that's true.
I think that people like underestimate her. Like she was already like doing exhibitions and stuff like that before she met him. Like she was an artist and she was making it work,
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. We're not done, are we? There's no way we're done.
I mean, there's a lot of other things to talk about, but I didn't know how much to cover. I mean, I guess one other thing.
As the Beatles were wrapping up, Lennon was already working in a new band, the Plastic Ono Band.
Yes.
With his wife.
Yes.
And
she
they
did
released
a lot with music.
They released a ton of albums, like 10 albums. Mm-hmm. He also released solo albums that she collaborated on, and she released albums as well. She continues to work with the Plastic Ono Band, a revival of it, and their album Double Fantasy is one of my favorite albums.
Is that right?
And it is all songs, that alternate. So it's, John has a song that he mainly wrote, and conceived of, and then she does one, and then he does one, and she does one, and it's got Starting Over on it, and it's got like some of his best solo work is on that album.
That's really cool. I'll have to take a listen to that.
We're not done, are we? We're talking about the bed-ins and the bag-ins and everything. And
so the Vietnam War was going on.
Yeah, and they got married.
They had recently gotten married.
It's all in the Ballad of John and Yoko.
Yeah,
the song on the B-side.
They decided they were going to do a peaceful protest, and the way they were going to do it was they were going to do a bed-in.
Yeah.
So they invited reporters to come to, basically observe them being in bed. I don't even remember how long it was. It was like all day. Like I've got questions about like realistically about going to the bathroom and everything. But
if you're in a bag, that's tough too.
Yeah, that is tough too. You're right.
Yeah. Was it in Vienna or somewhere else? But for one, they got in a bag, and obviously
that's right. They did it more than once for sure.
Obviously, it's a trademark of hers from her stage shows. But it was also, you just see our heads. So there's no comment. Their idea was there's no comment on fashion. There's nothing else. We're going to communicate. And we're going to talk about our ideas, and we're going to talk about being against the war. And I mean, I like the artistic expression, but it's sort of like the cart riding the horse. I just invented a new thing.
Yeah, you did.
Because of course that's all they could focus and talk about.
Well, they just made it all about sex, even though that's not what was happening.
And about, oh yeah, you're in a bed and stuff like that. And so, and they're like, you know, I mean, and it's a great statement because when you look back at it now and you see the interviews and you get not just, you know, crazy rock stars getting a bag on, you know, whatever the story is in the style section.
Yeah.
You realize that they were just sort of letting people make themselves look ridiculous. Yeah, we're in a bag, but you're the people who are asking about this bag
about being in a bag.
when there are people in Vietnam being killed by, you know, soldiers, and there's a whole war going on.
Yeah,
and you're making a big deal about this. And I'll say that's a great statement. The war kept going.
Yeah,
and maybe they could have never stopped it.
I know.
It was kind of ineffectual. And it reminds me of, and I can't believe this is the second time I'm talking about this on a podcast I've recorded today, but it's like the movie Don't Look Up.
Oh, God.
Which is a terrible, terrible film.
Then stop talking about it!
It's about a very important topic, but it's so...
It's true.
I'm not saying that John and Yoko were misguided, but I'm saying that their expression was creative, but it's not what we maybe needed right now, to go back to Batman.
Yeah.
And it's the same thing with Don't Look Up, which is not a good film. It's a terrible film. But it's so ill-conceived and so wrong-headed that it almost makes the problem worse, because now people are going to talk about this movie, which is the bag, and not about the actual problem that it's trying to get us to look up to, which is climate change and impending disaster.
Yeah.
So it's tough. You know, art isn't just for fun, and it isn't just for your walls.
Right.
But it's hard to make art that is going to, and people can do it. You can absolutely make art that can change the world.
Yeah.
That can change people's minds. Nothing's coming to my mind. Just kidding. But you know, it's hard.
Mm-hmm.
I think that sometimes you get something like Give Peace a Chance, which has become a anthem for, you know, the peace movement.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes you can get something beautiful like the song Imagine, which he wrote, you know, in cooperation with her.
Yeah.
And Gal Gadot decides to do.
Oh, God, I thought about that when I was putting this together. I was
montage. Or Ben Shapiro
no.
goes, so imagine there's no heaven. There's none for you, buddy. You know, you get that. But you know what? There's always going to be, and she knew this, and she still knows this today. There's always going to be people that don't get it. There's always going to be haters, and there's always going to be people. But she's the original. She's on Yoko time. She's doing her own thing.
Yeah, she would have been an amazing Instagram influencer.
Maybe the important,
but she's beyond that. You know,
she's probably got an Instagram account.
I'm sure she does.
But you know, one of the most important things about being an artist is being an individual, and she's got that on lock.
Itadakimasu with Usagi. What did Usagi eat in this episode? Pie! So Chibi-Usa makes an apple pie, which Usagi just assumes was made for her and her friends by her mom. So I did want to talk about apple pie in Japan just briefly. While it isn't a stereotypical Japanese dessert, you can find apple pie in Japan. However, it isn't as prevalent as it is in the US, and it tends to be a little different. So Aomori Prefecture in northern Honshu produces around 56% of the apples in Japan. This is home to the Fuji apple, which is the best known apple grown in the area. And in Japan, there are around 60 main different types of apples, but when you include variations, there are closer to 2,400. Chibi's apple pie has a lattice crust on top, which is often featured in cartoons, but I think it is also something that you see in Japan a lot. There are, of course, variations of apple pies in Japan. It's popular to have apple pies that include custard. That's very popular. There is also a very popular hand pie shop in Ike.
Hand pie?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Here we go.
In Ikebukuro, that is simply called Ringo, which means apple. Ringo Star. Your name means apple in Japanese.
Right.
Apple Star. That And it's made of puff pastry, and the original variety includes baked apple pieces and custard. But there's lots of different variations that they have. But this shop is so popular that they often have a line like snaking out the door like all throughout the year. So a very popular place. Feeling gauge, we rate a baddie 1 to 5 dark stars, 5 being the most wicked. The daemon on this episode is named Chokoka, and her name is a reference to Chokokuka, which is the Japanese term for sculptor, engraver, and carver. And her design, which we talked about, I like the Batman idea. I think I'm going to go with that because that's the more interesting besides that or Picasso.
Otherwise,
I don't
know what this is.
I know. I mean,
you think about, okay, look, let's be honest with each other. Okay. Yeah. I ate all the pie.
Dang it.
We get it.
Was there cinnamon?
We get that art. There's no way they can get away with just a purple, completely featureless body. You've got to do something. Yeah. We get that art features collage sometimes.
Yes.
I understand what her smock is, although I will say the leftover right closure and the little hat looked like Fu Manchu. She looked like Fu Manchu. You know what I mean? Gosh. It looks like a traditional robe type thing, but I get that it's like a smock, like a painter's smock.
Well, it looks like a beret. Too.
It kind of looks like a beret.
Yeah.
So I get all that.
Yeah.
But when you look at her, it doesn't look like a bird. It doesn't evoke anything specific. It's just sort of a mess of stuff. It doesn't look like, unless it's supposed to be, like a robot or some kind of like Ultraman character or a Kamen Rider thing that I don't know.
Maybe.
Unless there's some cultural context we haven't found. It just looks like it's supposed to be a bunch of different stuff.
Yes.
And either it's a totally, completely random kludge of things, or there are elements there. I can't imagine that they would have made the same connection to Batman and Jack Nicholson's Jack Napier Joker that I would. But I see what I see.
I mean, she is like what you say. Her whole body looks like it's painted. On the right side of her body, she's got a light pink tone and almost looks natural. And she's got a pointy ear on that side, and then on her left, she's very blue, and her ear is kind of like large, like it's like larger than the other ear and pointy, and like the earlobe is very big. And she also has these earrings that look like they're blades, which is the pieces that she puts into her creations later that animates them.
Yeah, right.
And I don't know what that means, if it's just like I'm putting a piece of myself into my art. Or...
It could literally be that, yeah. There's also like a kind of voodoo doll sort of aspect to it.
I hadn't thought about that. Not sure how I feel about that, but because I don't really think that that's something that can be done sensitively. But
all right, well, it's just she's putting herself into
all right.
It almost get too weird about it.
Okay, but it does look like she's kind of wearing like a purple leotard, and there's kind of like a collar around her neck, and
right. But then her face, her normal face, is flesh colored, and then the rest of her body's flesh colored. But even the parts that the leotard doesn't cover. So it's like, is she naked? Like, what?
I kind of think she's got a boob out, but
right. But it's not like, how like, okay, it's not like a cat with boobs. When there's like a cat youma, and it's like, oh, we get that they're covered with fur, and Donald Duck can get away with it.
Right.
It's purportedly flesh.
I know.
But then the flesh goes all the way down, but it's not. Why not have it be a unitard that is all different colors,
Sure.
Or why not make all of her skin blue and we to go, oh, it's just like a creature, that it doesn't have human features or whatever. But it's like very specific, like she has a job. Sometimes Yoma are the personification of items, or are like nyang cat girls.
Yeah.
This is a lady with a job.
I know.
She is a carver.
I know.
And she has like flesh.
Yes.
But then also no identifying marks that she is an adult woman on the side where you'd see that. So it's strange.
Well, and then like the other side where she's blue, it's like purple, but then there's like a circle cut out in the center. Yes. So it's like she's got a bloob. So it's like her
bloob. She's got a bloob.
She's got a bloob.
Nice bloobs.
A blipple. Where the blipple would be
It's fair.
Yeah. So anyways,
we got nothing.
Yeah, the purple bleeds on. I do have nothing. The purple bleeds onto her right leg, so it's not like a perfect leotard. But on her left side, she has small green eyes, and on her right side, she has a very large yellow eye with red pupil and large exaggerated red eyelashes. And on her right side, she has bright green mullet with bangs. And then on her left, she wears the red beret, looks like no hair. And on the left side of her face is, of course, mostly blue, with a purple streak running through it. And she has 2 large spikes on both her arms and her legs, aka Batman fins. I'm going to go with that one because I like your idea. And when she arrives, of course, she's wearing her yellow smock that is lined with a lot of small chisels. And then, later, I like that she says that she should have used waterproof clay after she's already
Well, here's what you do. You have her be all, maybe a little over-stylized or like heavy makeup. Like, you have her be like a painting. Then she gets hit with the water and the paint runs.
Yes.
And then she can have a monster face. You know, then it's all
I like
then
that.
she's like, oh, now she's a abstract painting,
Right.
But instead, she starts off like half kind of effed up, and then she gets washed out, and then she's all just kind of smeary, and it's like that. Okay, that tracks. But what was the thing with like her her bloobs?
Yeah.
All right.
All right.
Chakotay going to bed.
Yeah,
Put her to bed.
Now we are up to our rating. I feel like her design is kind of all over the place. And I like Batman more than Picasso, but I can kind of see the Picasso. I just don't know what they're going for. And so I'm not sure how I feel about that. I'm kind of meh about her design. But they were going for something, so I feel like some points. But I like that she makes sculptures out of the sand, and she animated and brought them to life. I think that's incredibly terrifying. I just feel like they could have done more with her than they did, or they could have done her design differently. Throwing the chisels like knives, that was kind of cool too. But I'm just not totally feeling it, so I'm going to give her 2 out of 5 dark stars.
You know, it's weird. I mentioned Guernica before, and Guernica has a huge eye, kind of like.
Is that right?
Kind of like the eye, so I don't know what they're trying to make a connection to there. Yeah, you know, there's like really deep, there's really simple, and then there's like totally mystifying. And I don't, like I said before, like I don't know if it's art, but I know what I don't like. We rate them by realized or unrealized potential.
Yeah.
I am totally fine with an youma that is about art, something that can be interpreted many ways and is about expression. I'm fine not getting it. I'm fine being the guy going, so it's not a bird, right? But I don't think that that's what's going on here. I think she's just a mess. I think that they didn't care all that much. So it's not a 1. I'll give you a 2 because 2. Try harder next time.
Yeah. Yes.
Right?
Exactly. Yes.
I will spot you that it's open to interpretation.
Yeah.
And I see a few fumbling strokes of you trying to do something, but people get when Yoko goes out there and she's screaming and she gets in her bag. We get that we're watching a show. Yes. We get that there's something to get out of this.
Yeah.
It isn't just like, did that lady get trapped in a bag? We know that she wants to be in that bag, and then we need to pay attention.
I know.
So a 2.
All right. Farewell, my lovely, where we rate the way they go out. She doesn't move or make a sound, and then the heart hits her, and then it's an agonizing lovely as she twists, and I feel like we've seen this before. So, unfortunately, because of that, I'm going to have to take points off, so I'm going to give you 1 out of 5 for this one.
We judge them on potential.
Yes.
And realized or unrealized.
Sure, yes.
And if you have the opportunity to do something unique, something that no one else has done, and artistic, and you're a youma that is the personification of art, and you do not even something bad, just what everybody else would have done.
Yeah.
For you, it is a 1.
Yeah. I agree.
Crap.
For Subu or Dubu, where we talk about the most interesting differences between the sub and the dub, in the English dub, the Daimon Shokoka was renamed Chizzler. Okay.
Chizzler sounds like if a steakhouse created an ice cream department, and sold hot eats and cool treats.
Yep.
You go to the Chizzler.
Yeah.
You can get an ice cream steak.
Yeah. You're absolutely right about
and
that.
a mochi baked potato. But yeah, it's fine.
Yeah. In the original, Dr. Giggles accidentally calls a ramen shop. In the dub, this is changed to a pizza shop.
All right. So we're going to do it right now.
Yeah.
So he accidentally called that place.
I think so.
That's the joke.
I think that is supposed to be the joke, but I still don't get it.
Oh, and you said it was pizza.
Yeah.
In the dub, it's pizza.
In the dub, it's pizza.
All right. So I don't know if the dub people, I don't know if Cloverway's right, but clearly they had the insane, that if I was an American writing that joke,
yes.
he calls a pizza place.
Yes.
So we are in lockstep with Cloverway on this.
I know,
It's supposed to be a joke.
It's like, what I don't understand is then he calls Eudial and like there's like a pause and like nobody answers and then he answers.
Because he's afraid that he's gotten the wrong place again.
Okay.
No.
Okay.
Look.
Right.
I get the joke. Notice I'm not laughing.
Because
I understand the joke. I just don't think it's really all that funny in the way that it's delivered.
Yeah.
Mako? The jokes have gone down in quality.
Yeah, right.
No, I get it, and I think in some cases it could be solid, but it is not in this case. Mm-hmm. And I'm trying to think of how you fix it. First of all, that's all they came up with. That's it.
That's it.
Why aren't they talking about art? And then Eudial's like, oh, that he's very talented and very expressive. And then we pull back and Dr. G's looking at, a Japanese, whatever the Japanese version of Terry Redlin is, and he's
right,
like,
sure.
I'm more of a landscape man myself. But yeah, I'll make you a demon, right?
Yes.
It's like some comment on it. It's not, has nothing to do with art.
You're right. His Crypt Keeper bit is not working this week.
No, he's letting somebody else write the jokes.
Yeah. And they're not good.
No.
You gotta step up, Dr. Giggles. Bring up your game. In the dub, Rini says to Eudial, "You trashy tart." So I like it.
Yeah.
In the original, after the Daimon creates 002, so I think that's the silence piece.
Yes.
Neptune says, "Wait, how about creating pieces that are easier to understand?" This scene was completely cut in the dub, in the English dub, for some reason.
Wait, so how do they defeat the art projects?
Well, just her saying that was cut.
Oh,
it just
okay. That,
shows
like, line.
That line. It just shows 002 going after her.
Are?
I know.
That's fun.
I think it's fun.
So these are a little high concept.
Yes.
Yeah, right.
I think it's funny.
I mean, she look. I just like for the way that this episode kind of falls on its face. I like the fact that they remember who all the characters are.
Yes.
And so Michiru, the artist here, is like little too much. Turn around in the mirror.
Yeah.
Remove one thing from your.
She's
from
criticizing
your art.
the artist. Yeah. I think it's fine.
Just artist to artist.
Yes.
Game recognized game.
Exactly.
It's all been done.
Bam! Third one.
Yes! Where are the stickers?
All right.
What a stupid thing to get a stickers for. Putting 3 Barenaked Lady references.
Oh, Lord. I hope you don't get a Barenaked Lady inspired sticker because that would just really not
These
cool.
are PG stickers, so
Thank
I'm not too
goodness.
worried about that. I got the moon stick, and it says, "Fight like a girl."
Nice.
Which, if you guys are happy owning that, I've noticed that recently,
yeah.
then fine. I would rather just get rid of that kind of language, but if you're owning it, then I'm all for it.
I think it's about women taking it back.
Yeah.
And like saying girls kick butt, and so yeah, I'm gonna fight like a girl. I'm gonna kick butt.
Girls kick butt, and they do it in high heels backwards.
That's right. Exactly. Now we are up to our rating. There are a lot of little things here and there that I liked about this episode. I like the beginning when they're eating pie, only to find out that Chibi-Usa made it and not for them. I like when Masanori tells Michiru that the red flowers mean like passionate love, and she just goes with it. Like, I think some people who are her age would freak out or just be like, kid that's not going to work out. But she just like totally goes with it and gives him a little kiss on the cheek, which she didn't need to do.
Yeah, she is practiced at being admired.
I think you're right.
Yes.
And we also get great business of Chibi watching behind the trash can and everything. And I love...
Which is just like, yeah.
It's like, okay, show.
Yeah. It's, I mean, to put, it's great because it's like, there's just nowhere lower that she could be.
There isn't.
Yeah.
And she's like watching her crush. It's just like so relatable. And it's like, oh, my heart goes out to her. But I love how determined she is not to lose to Michiru. And I also, of course, love the exchange between Haruka and Michiru about jealousy. Just super fun and flirty. And I think it's great to see the shoe on the other foot because I think Haruka flirts like a lot and Michiru really takes it in stride. And then to see Haruka get kind of jealous.
Yeah.
It's kind of refreshing. And I love how fearless Chibiusa is. Like she's like, fine, I won't transform. And she just bites Eudial. It's like, you go. And, I love that Michiru criticizes the daemon, but this doesn't, like, make a story or an arc, even though there's a lot of these fun little bits. So it doesn't really get cohesive in my mind. So I'm going to give it 2 out of 5 roses.
I've thought about this.
Mm-hmm.
I've thought a lot about this.
Yes.
And I would like to go 1.
Yes.
I want people to know that I didn't like this.
Yes.
But little things are just hanging on here.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm trying to find in my mind, a great example of a piece of art, an artwork that was saved by something important, something that was transcendent of the piece itself. But that's not how art, at least art in the way that we're talking about it here, works.
Mm-hmm.
Because the entire thing is kind of like a painting could have a terrible subject and be poorly executed, but have a great color palette or something like that. That's not how we're judging art. We're judging art as a whole here.
Yes.
And so I have to take all the parts into the whole in consideration. So it gets a 2.
Mm-hmm.
The jokes are bad, and that's weird for this show. This show is great at landing jokes, and there's no car gag. Like they just couldn't be bothered. And speaking of can't be bothered, the villains are defeated so lamely. You're the one that created extra villains, and it's like I said, a Scooby Doo sort of defeat of these dumb villains. Yeah. It's sad. The execution of the villain's bad. The way that she goes out is bad. We already talked about that. Also, there's weird things in the story where it'd be really easy so Chibi has a boyfriend and he is, crushing on Michiru to get her involved. But they're not even stalking him. They're not even scouting him out because they think he has a heart, which would make sense.
Yeah, it would.
She's just attending a painting class in the next room?
It's strange.
And they make that explicit by them saying, I guess we have a day off. It would make sense if these creepy weirdos were stalking a child because they were going to steal his heart and be his de facto murderers.
Yeah, right.
But they're not doing that because this is a fun, light one, I guess.
I guess.
So that, now we're getting back to the 1. But solely for the dialogue between Haruka and Michiru and the development of their relationship, which they have not let go since giving us what they gave us last episode. Mm-hmm. And seeing Chibi stuck in another dumb plot where she's crushing on a boy, but being Chibi and just getting out there. And she's like, what if I just filled my mouth with your arm flesh? What if we did that? Is that going to hurt my secret identity as a bitey kid? She's just getting out there, getting the job done when nobody else will. So I got to give it a 2.
Yes.
For those reasons.
All right. My English title is, not my best, which is not really great here. But,
I'm ready. I'm ready to accept it.
Oh, no. So it's Chibiusa's crush, heart sculpted.
Interesting. Makes you think. And it is reminiscent of the titles we've had before.
It
Where
is.
are the titles of yesteryear? They have returned. Here now. I got to give it out to the legend Yoko Ono with my title and just say that my title is The Ballad of Masanori and Chiba.
I love it. That's perfect.
I know we're trying to end the show, but I can't believe I just thought we didn't talk at all about the fact that she has a coat hanger for some reason. And the only thing that I could think of was, even though the quote-unquote art in this is all over the place, ultimately, even though she talks about waterproof paint at the end, blah, blah, whatever, we're talking about making things with clay, right?
Right.
Oh, my love, my darling. No. Although Ghost came out before this, so they
Yes.
could reference that if they wanted to.
That's true.
And we were like, what the hell is the hanger for? The only thing I can think of is that if you're going to make, say, a figure, it's got to stay together. You need something to put the clay on,
Yes.
a framework, or an armature. And so the only thing I can think of is if you're a DIY artist, or I'm sure they sell like professional ones at Blick Art Store, but like you use a coat hanger, right?
Right.
You can like bend it, you can clip it, into like a person shape, and then put your Boobie Rabbit Girl
Wow.
on the framework.
Yeah.
I don't know why it makes them sink to the ground.
I don't
or
either.
a vortex. I have no idea. That's all that I can think of.
Yeah. I mean, I think that makes the most sense. But
Show?
yeah,
That's a stretch.
it is a stretch, and I think they should
is
have
a
taken that
big
hanger and like
Stretch.
not used it. I think she should have just taken the sand and like sculpted them into a sculpture so they couldn't move or something like that. That would have made more sense.
Encase them in clay. We've
Yeah.
seen this before.
Yeah.
That, you know what? You know where that one goes? That one goes right in the pug mill.
Yes. Yeah. In the what mill?
The pug mill.
The pug mill?
That's where you put clay to recondition it.
Oh.
You're working on
okay.
it could be just scrap clay.
Sure. All right.
What kind of education did you have? You get scrap clay, or if you're working on something, you go, you know what, this is going to work? You put it in the thing. It's a machine that churns the clay, adds water back into it, spits out. It's like the Play-Doh Fun Factory. It splits out new, malleable clay.
Okay. All right. Sounds good. If we had one of those at my school, I didn't go anywhere near it. So,
Put you in the pug mill.
no, not happening.
Put this show in the pug mill.
Okay. Wow. Next episode, we are talking about episode number 108. Usagi no dansu wa warutsu ni notte in Japanese. Usagi dancing to the waltz, the English translation, and the English title, Everything's Coming Up Rosy.
Oh boy, Rosie. Okay.
I don't...
Whole lot of Rosie.
Yeah.
Okay, I got my AC/DC jokes ready.
Okay.
What about the doors that swing both ways, AC/DCs? I get those ready for next time. Don't give it all away now. If there is a next time.
Oh, come on.
I'm tired, man.
I am too.
I'm really tired.
Me too.
And maybe we should take a break and think about what we've done.
Think about the hanger that has created a vortex.
Put this in the pug mill
Yeah.
and just ruminate for a while, and
Yeah.
we'll come back.
Yeah, so we will be coming back on Friday, April 15th after a short break.
Yeah,
So.
I think that's good. But in the meantime, we'll be around. Mm-hmm. I'll be around. We'll be on social media, and we'll, of course, be on Discord.
Yes.
So find us there. You know what? Here's an assignment. Tell us what you think. What do you do when an episode just doesn't go your way?
Yeah.
And you're like, I mean, obviously there's going to be another one unless it's episode 200. But you know, when the show falls short,
Yeah.
what do you do? Do you go and stand in the rain, just think? You know, do you?
Does it get black and white all around you and
is it
sad
like-
music plays?
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Are you like the Narcos meme where you're just sitting at the table,
Right.
standing by your pool, hands clasped behind your back? What do you do? Let us know, because I need to do some of those things, because this one's going to the pug mill.
Yeah, this makes
As far
me
as I'm
sad.
concerned.
Well, that's our show for this week. In the Name of the Moon, we'll be punishing you in 2 weeks with another episode of Sailor Noob.
Into the pug mill.